Hello and good morning. It is the 21st of October 2021. This is going to be part 2 of the Abusive Ex. I think I'm going to recap a lot of the stories that I was telling yesterday, because I got, or not yesterday, the other day, because I haven't talked about a lot of this stuff in a long time. And as I was talking about it, I was remembering, like later on, I started remembering more details. Okay, so it's 2004. I barely moved to this town. I get a job at an office supply store. I move in with a coworker. A month into my working at the office supply store, I move in with the coworker, and I live with her until around like November, I think. The roommate was trying to overcharge me. His mother lives 1 block away from the roommate, so he was over there all the time. I activated a phone line in the house, so that I could have a bill in my name for some reason. I needed a bill in my name. I move out. I meet Jack at one of the mini house parties that the roommate had, and I find out that Jack has a family, and I try to cut things off with him, and he refused. He had said when I gave him the letter, good luck with that, before he left, or something along those lines. And then I moved away from there. He found where I lived. I transferred the phone number from old roommate's house to my parents' house. And he started calling the number there, because he was calling the number incessantly at old roommate's house looking for me. So then he started calling here, and I told him not to call here anymore. I moved again. I moved here with my parents for a little while, and then I moved again to a house that I was renting. And these people that I was renting the house from owned several properties. It was like a property management company, and they owned several properties, and I moved into whichever ones they had open and available. I was explaining to the manager, she was an elderly woman, that I was trying to get away from somebody that kept finding me. And at one point I was going to move into an old folks trailer park. She was going to let me move in there, but then something happened. One of the trailer that I was going to move into, something happened to it. I don't think it was up to code or something. And so then I moved into clear across town, to the other side of town. I was on the very west side of town, and then they had other properties on the very east side of town. So I moved into 2 places, one that was behind a duplex, and the duplex, I lived in both of them. And he found where I lived each and every time. There was a lot more times that I moved, because there was another house further north that I lived in with my parents also. They started renting that one, but then they bought this one, and moved into this one, and I lived with them in both. And he found me every time. Anyways, Excuse me. So he was stalking me. And eventually I relented and gave in, and got pregnant, had the miscarriage, got pregnant later that year because I was on antibiotics again, and birth control still. And I had my son. Dad wasn't at the hospital. He left to go drinking. Um, he had already been accusing me of cheating on him at this point, and I wasn't. I never cheated on him. I didn't talk to anybody. I only talked to coworkers, and he didn't feel that they were good enough to be my friends, and he was always criticizing anybody that I try to make friendships with, except for the women that his cousins were dating. But even then, behind closed doors, he would talk so bad about everybody. Oh my god. So I know, I mean, if he talked like that about his own family, about his own friends, I mean, people that he knew, that he hung out with, I can only imagine how bad he was talking about me to everybody else. I've since learned that I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, anything like that, but I've since learned a lot of terms like gaslighting and narcissist, and oh boy. And I believe that he is a narcissist. Um, will I ever say that to his face? No. I've thought about sending videos of diagnosed narcissists that talk about the things that they used to do and why they used to do them. I've thought about sending him those videos, but it says narcissist or narcissism in, like, on the screen or in the title, and I know how he'll react if I to reading that word. So none of my business. I used to want to. He needs therapy, and I used to think that he could or would get better for the kids, but a true narcissist won't. Anybody won't. They have to want it for themselves. And it's, he's nothing to me, so he's my kid's dad, but I mean, I can't, there's nothing for me to do. There's nothing I can do. I'm in therapy. My 2 out of my 3 children are in therapy also. But that's too much information. 2006, I had my son. 2007, I had a suicide attempt. I was on illicit drugs at this time. I thought in my head, I've told him no. Me being an alcoholic isn't pushing him away. Me smoking cigarettes isn't pushing him away. He's really, I'm trying to remember how he used to put it. I'm a man. Men can smoke. It's disgusting for a woman to smoke. I'm a man. I can drink. I work. I'm a hard worker. I deserve to drink. It's disgusting for a woman to drink and be sloppy drunk. It's nasty. It looks bad for a woman to be drinking. And the piece de resistance, I'll never date a woman. I'll never be with a woman that's on drugs. And I was on drugs. I thought that was going to be the thing that was going to make him say, finally, ew, why am I with you? I deserve better. And then I had the suicide attempt. I was put in a hospital. Started treatment. I got diagnosed as bipolar at that time. I didn't talk about the mental gymnastics that I was pulling. Telling myself that I was in love with this person. Telling myself that if I just love him hard enough, that he'll see how bad he's treating me and start treating me better. I didn't have any friends. He was the only person I had. That I talked to. I don't know why I'm crying right now. I must be emotional. I just had a full moon last night. Or yesterday. It was actually the full moon like at 4:27 in the afternoon. But I put my moon water out. I put my gallons of water out so I can have my moon water. But anyways, yeah, so I was in a really dark place at that point of my life. So that was 2007. I quit the job at the office supply store. I had way too much stress. I was on drugs while I was working there at the end. And then I had the suicide attempt, and they gave me medical leave, and the stress from dealing with that man, and then the stress from the lack of support at work. I was the supervisor of the printing department, and I was supposed to schedule people. I was given the budget for the department, so I had to schedule people based on how much they made per hour and how many hours they could work, and if they were part-time or full-time. I had to give them either part-time or full-time hours. I had a budget for the department, the people that I scheduled for the department. So if I scheduled somebody because I wanted to train them, or I wanted them for training purposes, their pay for those 4 hours or 8 hours or whatever was coming from my budget. The cashiers on the front end would call my trainees to the front for backup and assistance. They had their own schedules, their own budget that they had to finagle and stuff. And they took my trainees when I had scheduled them for training. I would schedule them with me, and I wouldn't let them go to the front. And then I would schedule them with the next person in line under me. And they would steal my trainees from them, from the other people that I had scheduled them with to train with. And so I kept trying to train people, and then I wouldn't be told immediately that the person was not trained. So then I would ask them, how do you feel? I would test them and ask them, how do you feel about, show me how you would do 100 double-sided copies, collated and stapled. And I would have them, set the machine up, and then I would go and check, and I would have them do a test one. And then if I noticed that the settings weren't correct, I would still let them do it, and then I would show them, look, this is what you did wrong, and this is what happened. So they would learn like that. Intentional mistakes, if you will, so that they can see what happens when every setting isn't correct, and how to fix it. And also when the machine's jammed, I would tell them, okay, look at the machine, what is the error code on it? And then I would have them go through and open each door, each compartment, and figure out what the problem was. And if it was something like a staple got kicked into one of the feet, then I would sit there, have to go with the flashlight and look for the freaking stapler or the staple. But learn hands-on. That's how I learn, and that's how I like to teach people. Is if you see the result in action, if you see the mistake in action, you know how to fix it. You know how to deal with it. Whatever. Not in every place you can't do that. Like, it's dangerous to do, by mistakes. Like, you can't do that in the oil field or on multi-million-dollar projects. You can't, but yeah, so I had a lot of stress from work and from him. So I ended up quitting, and they kept trying to tell me, like, no, we'll give you the support you need. I've talked to the cashiers in the front. I had the assistant manager and the store manager both, like, no, don't quit, don't leave. And I quit. After that, I didn't work until I quit the job in November, and I had moved in with him by March. And then I moved the kids in, my older two, because I was pregnant at the time. I got pregnant when I quit my job. Because I went back with him. After my suicide attempt, I went back with him. And then I got pregnant. And then I moved in. And then I found out what the sex of the baby was, and he freaked out, flipped out, got drunk, coked out, held a gun to my stomach that had a bullet in the chamber. And I didn't leave. I was not, I don't even know at what year it was that I stopped being who I was. Probably when I gave up, when I stopped running, when I stopped trying to get away from him. I think that's when I wasn't myself anymore. I was a different person. And that's something that he always used to yell at me for. You're not who you used to be. You're not the same Sally I met. And I wasn't. The person he met died. When the stalking began, I had never in my life dealt with somebody like that. I didn't have any kind of life training. I was naive. I was sheltered. I was sheltered, so sheltered that I didn't know anything of the world. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that bad people existed because of my childhood, but I thought that was just confined to me. I thought that was not how the rest of the world operated. So then he came to terms with the fact that the baby was a girl. And he started rubbing my feet when I was pregnant. And in his own way, doing nice things for me. Like he would ask me if I wanted something special to eat and bring me like a bag of chips or chocolate bar when he went and got himself some beer. Or I was actually supposed to be on bed rest. Um, my last pregnancy was the hardest. I had a varicose vein in my pelvic floor the size of a ping pong ball. And the doctor told me to put ace bandages like suspenders from my crotch to my shoulders. Just wrap the ace bandages around me so that I would have pressure on my pelvic floor because it hurt to stand, it hurt to sit, it hurt to. I couldn't do anything. I was supposed to be on bed rest. I also have a thyroid condition, and that makes every pregnancy that I've had has been high risk because of my thyroid condition. But my last pregnancy was hard, was the hardest one. I didn't get any bed rest. I had to still be washing and cooking and cleaning and doing everything that was expected of me in the biblical sense too. Even though I didn't want to, even though I was in utter pain from a varicose vein that was swollen to the size of a ping pong ball. I still had to perform the wifely duties. I don't know who I was. I sure wasn't myself. I just think back to all that stuff, and I don't want anybody to go through anything like that. And I worry about my kids, about all three of them in different ways. One of them turning out to follow in their father's footsteps, or any of them, either of them following in their father's footsteps, or either of them ending up with somebody abusive, being the abuser or being abused. I worry. I've already had sincere conversations with my children, and I've told them both that if I ever come to find out that either one of them is abusing their significant other, that I would not stand for that. I would be the one to turn them in if their significant other was not turning them in. I used to say before I got with Jack, um, that the two things that I would not ever, that I would only ever leave a relationship if I got cheated on or if I was hit. And I didn't leave. I wasn't the young, vibrant, joyful, naive, dumb girl that I had once been, full of hopes and full of dreams. I was like an eggshell, a fragile eggshell. Every little insult, every slap, every punch, every kick, every assault was like not only a knife to the heart or in my back. It was a knife in my brain. It was a knife to my mental health. It was I ended up with that man because I didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like. I didn't have a good example of myself growing up. There was a lot of violence and anger and rage in throughout my childhood. So I guess it was only natural for me to continue that because I didn't have any other examples. So it's 2008, the baby's born. And things seem like they're okay for a little while, but when she gets to be about, oh, okay, it's still recording. When she gets to be around 3 months old, he starts harassing me about my wifely duties because I wasn't performing them. I was concentrated on the baby. And he would attack me with that. He would say horrible things. I'm not even going to repeat. I'm going to, because I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it'll get flagged by YouTube or whatever. But he said, hold on, I'm cleaning it up. Hang on. I had to think about that for a minute. He said something along the lines of, you aren't performing your wifely duties. So what do I need you for? Or what do I want you for? horrible malicious attacks. He would, oh my God, he would say, 2008, 2009 was his 30th birthday party, and that's when he yelled at me in front of his family and his friends, and they got on his case about um, not being grateful or whatever. 2010. Okay, so I quit the job at the office supply store in 2007. And in 2008, I was pregnant. And then I had the baby. And then I told him I want to start looking for a job. And he said, no, I want you at home. I want you to be my trophy wife. I want you to get all nice and tight, start working out. You just had the baby. You can get nice and tight and be my trophy wife. I want you to have my house clean. I want you to cook dinner. I want you to have dinner ready. I want you looking all nice and sexy, nice and tight for me. And so I didn't work. And then his ex started trying to get him for child support at this point because he wasn't consistent with the payments. He likes to be in control of everything. So he would make the payments late, and he would sometimes skip a week and gaslight and say that he made the payment when he actually hadn't, and then said that, oh, he must have forgot. And he did the same things with me. But it was 2009, and he was only bringing home $2,000 a week. I mean, $200 a week. Not $200 a week. And then I saved pennies for months to throw him this birthday party. And I made him a homemade tres leches cake because that was the kind of cake that he liked. He wasn't ever big on sugar, but he did like tres leches cake. And he yelled at me in front of everybody, and I guess I didn't realize it at that point, but I guess people got a glimpse of what he was actually like. And then his mom saw him slap me on New Year's and busted my ear open. He slapped me so hard, he knocked me down to the floor, and his brother had to pull him off of me. And this was on New Year's. This was 2011. His dad died in 2010. So this was in New Year's 2011 when this happened. Okay, so it was 2009. It was 2010. And I guess I wasn't tight enough for him, or I didn't look good enough for him, or, whatever his reasons were. He started telling me to get a job. So then I started applying at different places, and I got an interview at the local Sam's Club. And I told him that I was that I had got called by them, and I went and did the interview, and they were ready to hire me. And he told me, why are you gonna go work at that piece of shit place? And I said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he said, you're gonna go be a cashier at Sam's Club. Do you know the kind of people that work at Sam's Club? And I said, no. All of them motherfuckers cheat on each other. Cheat with each other. And I said, isn't it the same thing at the cheese factory that you used to work at? And he said, I don't want my woman working at no fucking Sam's Club with all them nasty ass people, with all them drug addicts. And I was supposed to start on a Tuesday, and I had to call them and tell them that I couldn't accept the job. And then I kept applying at different places. He didn't want me to go back to retail, so I started applying at different places, knowing that I wasn't going to get hired as a secretary anywhere because I didn't have secretarial experience. I was the supervisor of a printing department, but that doesn't exactly translate into secretarial. I mean, in my mind, it doesn't. But I was applying at different places, and I applied at a cell phone store. And I went and did the interview there, and they had amazing benefits. They paid a good salary. It was salary plus commission plus fully paid health insurance and a 401k. So I applied, I got hired, and I was supposed to start on a Monday. And the Sunday before, he was telling me, I don't want you working. He was really good at always starting arguments the day before, the day of, the night before something big, important was supposed to happen, just so that it would be ruined for me, or I wouldn't want to go do it anymore. So he started fighting with me. He started an argument with me the night before, the Sunday before I was supposed to go to work, and he said, "You're not going to go work there." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I don't want you working there. It's just a bunch of women, and there's going to be nothing but men hitting on you all the time. I know how those women are. They're all a bunch of whores and stuff." And I was all like, what? This is a great job. It's amazing. They're paying me so much an hour. It's salaried plus commission. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I went for it. I took the job, and I got my first promotion. They told me that I wouldn't be promoted for at least 6 months. I was promoted in the first 3 months, from just basic internet sales to cell phone sales. And the cell phone sales, you can get a lot more commission. And I was selling internet service left and right out the door. Boom, 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 boom. I started beating everybody else in the internet sales. So the manager moved me up, and then they hired somebody else to do the internet stuff. And I was doing so good. In my first year of selling, it wasn't even a full year. In my first year of selling, whenever they tallied up the numbers, I was number 11 company wide and number 1 for the town. I was number 1 in sales. I started getting stressed out at work because a lot of my sales were getting stolen. And I was talking to the store manager about it, and she told me, "Well, just make notes on the account that you talked to this customer." And I did that, and they still stole them. And I was like bringing it up, like, I did note the account. I am noting the account. I go back and I check, and the person comes back on a day that I got scheduled at the other store, and they're taking my sales. I'm not there to help the people anymore, and they're taking my sales. I gave them my business card. I wrote, and I would even start telling customers, we all work on commission, so please, if you come back and I'm not here, tell them that you worked with me so that I can ensure to get the sale. That didn't work. They kept stealing my sales. I was still number one, but they kept stealing my sales. I would have been even higher in the company if my sales weren't getting stolen. So I was dealing with that stress, and then made the mistake of confiding in him and telling him, man, these girls at work, they're taking all my sales. It's not right. It's not fair. I keep telling, ooh, I almost said her name. I keep telling store manager, but she's not doing anything about it. She's not telling them anything, and I bring it up in the store meetings, and everybody just says, well, just note the account, give them your business card. And I'm like, I am doing all of that. Anyways, and then so there was two stores, a north store and a north store and a south store. And when people were scheduled for the north store, there wasn't as much foot traffic, so they would only schedule two people, and we would have to balance the books every morning and go. One of us would have to go make a deposit at the bank, and at the end of the day, we would have to balance the books again, balance the registers, make sure that there was nothing missing, start the deposit for the next day, and then the person the following morning would finish it up and then go take it to the bank to do the deposit. Oh, I'm so cold. So when you had to work the north store, you would leave a little bit later. If there was issues with something not balancing right, if one of the machines was going haywire, anything could have caused a delay. There was only two of us working in the store, so if we had a sudden rush of customers, like at 6 o'clock, we would have to lock the door behind them and keep helping them, whatever the issue was, until it was resolved. Or, sometimes we could have been there till 7 o'clock. And so whenever I had to work the north store, I would get home later than usual. Dinner wouldn't be ready, and of course, he'd be flipping out and bitching and moaning about dinner not being ready, and I'd have to hear it for, I don't even know how long, for that whole night. And then we'd be up until like midnight arguing, and then I'd have to get up at 3 in the morning to make him breakfast and lunch the following day, and he would blame me for the lack of sleep, saying that it was going to be my fault if he crashed on his way to work, because he works in the oil field, and he would have to drive from one state to another state sometimes for work, and he would drive home every night. And he blamed me for having to drive home every night. He could have taken per diem and stayed in Texas, but he didn't trust me. He didn't trust me. I forgot a huge key piece of this. I had a blazer when I moved in with him. He went and sold it because it had something wrong with the ground cable. It would randomly not turn on. Temperature didn't matter. It was just like a wire would move somehow in just like a split second, and then it was dead. It could have been hot, it could have been cold, it could have been the morning, the night, the middle of the day. It didn't matter what time of day it was, what the temperature was outside. It had to be an electrical issue. So he sold it because he didn't want to deal with it, and he sold it. And it was a 4-door blazer, and I had 2 small children, and he went and bought a 2-door Yukon. I had 2 kids in car seats, and I was struggling to get them in and out of the car seats. In a 2-door Yukon. And something that he would do was disconnect the battery cables or take the keys with him so that I wouldn't be able to leave. He would take the keys to his vehicle that he owned, and then he would take the keys to my vehicle or disconnect the batteries on both vehicles to ensure that I wasn't going to leave. And here's the important part. He would disconnect the cables, take the keys, but on the days that he didn't disconnect the cables or take the keys, and I was allowed to leave the house, it didn't matter where I was going. Within 5 to 10 minutes of me leaving the house, he was calling me, asking me where I was going. It didn't matter which vehicle it was. And he had a friend that lived 2 houses over. They lived in the second house. There was one house separating so they could see our yard from their yard. And there was this young girl that lived there, and every time she would walk by, she would always say, "Hey, Jack, what's up?" And they would like stand and talk to each other, and I was extremely jealous at this point. And at one point, it was him and like 3 of his people, his friends, his cousins, his brothers. He only has 1 brother, but there's a lot of people he calls brothers. It was like 4 of them all together outside, and she walked by in like these hoochie, like she was scantily clad. And me being jealous and upset, she stopped and talked to them, and she was wearing like these little booty shorts and like a sports bra. And then I got mad and I started arguing with him, and I said, "What the fuck? Y'all are having like a sausage party, and she's the only female there. I'm supposed to be locked up inside the house, but this random girl, eye candy." Oh my god, I was so anyways, I think that was the girl that was watching the house, because within 10 minutes of me leaving, he was always asking, "Where are you going?" "To the grocery store." "Is there somebody with you?" "No, it's just me and the kids." "Send me a picture." I had to send him a picture. One time I sent him a picture. Oh my god. One time I sent him a picture, and I had a blanket. Hold on. I think I can recreate it with this. So it was the blanket covering my head like this, and you couldn't see my arms, but I held the phone out in front of me like this, and the blanket, like I had maneuvered my hand like if it was coming out from right here. So all you could see was my face, blanket. And then he got so mad. He said, "Who took that picture of you? Who's there with you? Are you cheating on me?" And I was like, "What? I'm on the couch. I'm cold. I'm crocheting. I'm watching TV with the kids. What are you talking about?" And he said, "Who took the picture of you? I can't even see your arms." And then I took another picture of myself the same way when he was there to show him. Oh my god. In hindsight, in hindsight, I know he was probably cheating on me and had a guilty conscience and was accusing me of cheating on him, because holy crap, he would spin stories out of nothing. Jesse's crust, man. Jeez. Freaking insanity. Insanity. The black eye that he gave me was before I started working at the cell phone store. I still have my driver's license from that point, and my black eye had barely healed, and you could see, like, I think it's this eye that's like, you could tell it was like like my black eye had already healed, was already mostly healed, and I had put a lot of makeup on that day to whatever. And I tried to look presentable for the ID picture because I had to renew my license. This was in 2011. I had to renew my license in 2011, so I was already working at the cell phone store when it came to the black eye. What the hell? I know I didn't go to work with a black eye. I did have a black eye when I was working there, but that was because I was trying to crawl. They had these display tubes, and when people try to steal the phones, it had like a little latch spring cord thing, and whenever the cord was cut, it would like go back through the little hole, and somebody would have to climb into the tube to pull it out, or to thread it back through the hole for the new phone to be put on. And I volunteered one time, and I like dove into the tube like an idiot, and then I hit my bridge of my nose right here on some like little lip thing that was sticking out, and gave myself a black eye. But I mean, there were witnesses there to that black eye, and it wasn't even that bad. It was just like on the inside of my, on the bridge of my nose, on the inside, going towards my eye a little bit. That one happened at work, and everybody was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Did your man give you that black eye?" And I was like, "No, it happened here the other day. Remember?" Um, but they helped me move all my stuff out of his house. When I moved in with him, I moved in a house full of furniture, couches, table, everything. His ex left him with nothing except for rotten food and trash. I helped him clean up that house. There was, oh my God, there was, on the stove, how it like lifts up. There was grime so thick under there. I got that stove looking like new, brand spanking new, and that stove was like 11 years old at that point. And I was pregnant cleaning this house, this abandoned house. There was so much rotten food everywhere, like on the stove, inside the refrigerator, on the table. There was a plate of moldy spaghetti on the table, like if somebody had left it there like months before. And like if somebody had left it there months before, and just like dipped in a hurry. A pot of moldy spaghetti was also on the stove too. Um, so I helped him clean it up. We took out like 25 barrels of trash from that place. And the funny thing is, when I left him, that same ex went back in his house and was supposedly helping him clean up. And she was taking pictures of a closet where I had projects that I was working on sewing. It wasn't even like my clothes or anything, but I was getting criticized for it. and called all kinds of dumb, stupid things. I'm a, I like to sew. I'm not a seamstress. I like to sew. And at that point, I was trying to have like a home sewing business, a home diet pill business, a home crocheting business. Um, I jumped way, way ahead of myself. Okay. So I was working at the cell phone store. They were stealing my cells. I was getting home late and not having dinner ready on time. So he was upset. And I ended up quitting that job too. 100% paid for health insurance, commission on top of a salary. And I quit to please him. So I quit the job and I'm still making him his burritos at 3 in the morning. And I had my kids in daycare. I forgot that part. When I was getting hired, I asked him, "What are we going to do about the kids? You want me to start working? Where am I going to take them to get taken care of?" And then he told me to go through the state, to apply through the state so that I can get assistance with paying for the child care. Well, I didn't qualify because I put down his salary too. And I was paying $1,200 a month in child care. I'm glad it was a good paying job because $1,000, 12 between $1,000 and $1,200 a month for child care is quite a bit. Between 12,000 and I don't know, over $12,000 a year in child care. I had asked him if he could ask his mom to help me with the kids, to take care of them, and she didn't want to. She was taking care of all of her other grandkids, except for mine. She was taking care of his three other kids and her other children's other kids, um, and some other little girl that she wasn't even related to. But not mine. She had space, but not mine. So then I went to start looking for daycares to try to see where I could get them in, who had space, who was going to take somebody that was self pay. And I found one and they worked with me. Um, the price that I was paying was still with like a government grant on top of it. So it was even supposed to be higher than that. Yeah, that was an issue too. Because remember, sometimes I would get out of work at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and the daycare closed at 5 o'clock. So I'd have to pick them up from there and then take them somewhere else for somebody else to take care of them for the rest of the time. He couldn't be bothered to pick them up. He never picked them up from daycare if he got home early enough. Or if he took a day off because he was too hungover, he wouldn't go pick up the kids. He didn't go to any school functions. He didn't go to any parent-teacher conferences. He didn't go to any performances. He was always out drinking, always putting his friends before his kids, always putting his other family before his kids. Even his 3 other kids, he put other people in front of them. And I used to defend his kids against him when he'd be berating them, abusing them. Don't fucking tell me how to raise my kids. I talk to my kids however the fuck I want. They're my blood. They're nothing to you. And he wonders why the youngest wants nothing to do with him. They themselves have said, in response to him texting me about them not communicating with him, they said, he gaslit you and me for how many years? And he thinks I want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. I want no communication with him. I don't know what they talk about with their therapist, but I don't know. (2010, 2012). Okay, so it's 2012. I quit my job at the cell phone store. 2012. Wait, I haven't quit the job at the cell phone store yet. It's February. And I'm wanting to do some spring cleaning in February. And I'm trying to move the furniture, and I asked him to help me move the furniture because it was really heavy. It wasn't compressed wood. It was like actual real wood. I had paid a lot of money for that furniture. Even with a discount from the manager and from the person that sold me the furniture. I had a lot of favors, but that was still really expensive, heavy furniture. And I asked him to help me move it, and he said, no, you want to clean, you do it yourself. Okay. So I start trying to push the dresser with the mirror on top of it, and this is on carpet. I'm trying to push a heavy ass wood dresser with the mirror on it on carpet. And I gave myself a hernia. I went to push it and I felt a pop and the most burning, intense pain in my stomach that I've ever felt in my life to this point. And I was like that for a couple of days. in so much pain. I eventually went to the emergency room and they told me that I had an incarcerated umbilical hernia and I needed surgery. And I was scheduled for surgery less than 2 weeks later. And so I have the surgery, and the doctor said, no sex for 6 weeks. You need to heal. Okay. 6 weeks turned into 3 months, I think. I kept saying that it hurt too much. And since I wasn't performing my wifely duties, he said, he got mad at me again and said, you quit your job, what are you going to do to bring in money now? So then I started a home business. I started selling diet pills. Actually, I had started selling the diet pills before I quit the job, because the diet pills I had discovered through the job. I lost 14 pounds in like 2 months just taking the pills. I was still eating shitty. I was still getting Starbucks every morning, eating Sonic for lunch every day, and I lost 14 pounds in 2 months. I haven't been able to get any more of those pills. I used to order them from China, but I haven't been able to order them anymore. I don't know why. I've tried ordering, but they don't accept my payment. But anyways, so I had the surgery. I was out for some time. I quit my job. I kept selling pills. I started working out so that I could be the tight trophy wife again. I was dancing a lot. 2012. And then in 2013, it was around in February again. I was having a lot of issues with my monthly cycle. I had a copper IUD put in so that I wouldn't get pregnant, but my bleeding became very, very, very intense and heavy. And I told my OBGYN about this, and he said, okay, well, if you're not wanting to have any more kids, we can do a tubal ligation on you, and that'll be that. So I said, okay. I, to this day, still why am I getting emotional? I still wanted one more boy. But I could not fathom giving that man another child. So I had the tubal ligation done. And the doctor told me no sex for 6 weeks. Bet. Yes, this is what I want. Yeah, so 2013. Not only that, ooh, I still have a little bit of mascara, I guess. Not only that, but I lost my train of thought. Tubal ligation. No sex for 6 weeks. 6 weeks turned into like 6 months, I think. And then after that, I only perform my wifely duties like once a month. And I think it was in 2012. This is going to sound really crazy. I started noticing in 2012 because the sex has slowed down a lot. I think it was once a month, even in 2012, once we started having sex again. I noticed that whenever we would have relations, I was having I can best describe it as an allergic reaction. I'm Oh my God. Okay. I'm allergic to latex, and when I've used latex condoms in the past, I have allergic reactions. Um, we were not using condoms at this time because I was in a committed relationship, and didn't feel that there was a need for condoms. I was on birth control. I had a copper IUD before that. I was on the depot shot before that. I was on the pill. Um, So whenever we would have relations, I was noticing that I was having a similar allergic reaction that I was having to latex. And maybe my body was just rejecting him, but I had myself convinced that I was allergic to his sperm or to his bodily fluids or something. I don't know. And I was trying, you know, sex was to an absolute minimum. When he started getting mad about me not performing my wifely duties, I would relent and give in and say, okay, well, let's go do it, I guess. Ugh, so enthusiastically. And then he started calling me a dead fish because I wasn't into it and not enjoying it. So dead fish I was. And then I had the tubal ligation in March of 2013. The sex was reduced. I went 6 months. No, I think it was in February. February, I had the tubal ligation done. Or maybe it was in March. I don't remember. But I had the tubal ligation done. We didn't have sex for 6 months. That was March. 6 months, September. I had sex with him again. Probably. That was 2013. 2014, New Year's, I stayed home. February of 2012. I can't believe I forgot this part. February of 2012 was the same month that I got the hernia. But prior to that, it was Valentine's Day weekend. And my mother had my kids because we were supposed to have a date night. It was Valentine's Day. He wanted to go to a house party, and I said, no, this is Valentine's Day weekend. I want to have dinner. I don't want to go to a house party. And he said, fine, I'm going to the house party. If you don't want to come, you can stay here. Stayed home alone. He went to the house party. A fight broke out. Somebody got punched in the face. That person left and brought back their whole family with them, and they started shooting up the house. I wasn't there, so this is all secondhand information that I was given by the people at the party. Um, Jack told me that he was peeing on the side of a vehicle when these people came back and started shooting at the house. They didn't, according to Jack, they didn't see him. And he had a gun. And he said, and I quote, "I was picking them off one by one, and they didn't know where the hell I was." A bullet hit him in the side. And I mentioned in the other day's video that he's obese. And had the bullet gone in another inch or two if it hadn't hit him in the love handle, it would have hit him in the intestines. And I don't know that he'd still be alive. He would have had to go to the hospital, but he didn't go to the hospital. He showed up at the house at 3 o'clock in the morning with a whole group of people, and they're all screaming and yelling about a gunfight and gun whatever, and he's bleeding, and I'm like, what is going on? It's 3 in the morning, almost 4 in the morning, mind you. And he gets there and he starts laying on the couch. It was my couch. He started laying on the couch, and a Coast Guard buddy of his shows up and starts fixing him right there. He gets like his medical kit from the Coast Guard and he brings it in, and he's got like these long Q-tips and like these liquids, and he's like sticking the Q-tip through the bullet wound to make sure that there's like no metal fragments in it, and oh my god. And he like patched him up, and he said, "Oh, you don't have to go to the hospital, it just hit your fat. you'll heal right up." And I'm just like in shock and in disbelief, and all these people are telling me like what happened, and they're like, "Nah, man, you're badass, you were picking them off one by one." And I'm just like, I was like looking around, and I'm like, this is not me. This is not where I'm supposed to be in life. What am I doing here? And I think 2012 was around when I started waking up. Throughout all of these years, from 2008 till about probably 2010, I had no contact with my family, with my mom, with my dad, with anybody. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a cell phone in the house for many years. And he finally got a cell phone because I asked him for a landline. And the people went out and told him, your dog chewed all of these wires. To replace them is going to cost, this much more money to get a landline set up. So then he said no, and he went and got a cell phone. I didn't know what kind of minutes or anything. He got like a 200-minute plan. And I didn't know. It was like the smallest one. And I asked him once if I could talk to my sister on the phone, and he said sure. And I talked to her in front of him. And after that, she started texting me, and she texted me, there was a picture going around of one of the police officers. He had taken a nudie and sent it to somebody, and that somebody sent it to the whole state pretty much. And my sister was living in another town like 3 hours away. Um, and somebody had sent her the picture and she thought it was hilarious, so she sent it to me. Oh my God. He saw that picture and he knew the man and ripped the phone in half and said, "This is what I buy you a phone for, so that your sister can send you naked men." And I said, and at that point, I said something like, "Oh, like your friends don't send you naked women and stuff. I've seen the pictures that you get." And he says, "I'm a man. I'm allowed to look at that stuff." "I'm a man" was his go to for everything. His justification for everything that he did. "I'm a man. I'm a man." It's disgusting for women to do that. Women shouldn't do that. That's not women's. One time, the grass was looking kind of long, and I used to cut the grass when I was a teenager. I mean, it was no big thing for me. I cut the grass, I shoveled asphalt. I mean, I didn't care. Um, I wasn't afraid of hard work. I was like a pretty girly girl or whatever, but I wasn't afraid of hard work. Um, and I noticed that the grass was getting kind of long, and I started pulling out the lawnmower and the weed whacker to so that I could cut the grass by myself. And it was like a Saturday, and he says, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you embarrassing me? You're making me look like a lazy fuck that doesn't cut his fucking grass. You want me to be like the fucking neighbor?" And oh my God, I never touched that lawnmower again. I didn't go in his garage for any reason for I don't even know how many years. The dryer was in there. I wouldn't go in the garage to use the dryer. So then, in my idiocy, I would put clothes to wash early in the morning. And then wouldn't put it in the dryer until the end of the day. And if it was his shirts, they stank. I mean, his shirts stank, and they would stink even worse after sitting in the washer all day. Everything. He attacked everything. I learned how to clean um, from a cleaning job. The first job I ever had, like real job that I ever had, not working for my parents, um, was working for my boyfriend's parents in their cleaning company. So that's where I learned how to clean. I mean, we used to clean model homes. We used to clean homes that were up for inspection, like homeowner homes too. Um, and that's where I learned how to clean, like a professional clean. And I had a certain way of mopping. And one time that I was mopping, he got on my case so bad. He made me feel like nothing, like an insignificant idiot that didn't know how to do anything. Hang on. I was mopping, and he said, "What are you doing? Why are you mopping like that?" And I said, "I used to work for a cleaning company, and this is how they taught us how to mop. It picks up all the extra dirt that you don't get with the sweeper, with the broom." And he said, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life, blah, 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 blah." And not even like a week later, not even 2 weeks later, We go to his mom's house, and his mom was mopping the exact same way. And I stopped and I looked at him. And in front of his mom, I said, "What do you mean you've never seen anybody mop like that before? Look how your mom's mopping." And then he turned red in the face and he got mad and he said, "Ama, how long have you been mopping?" "I've mopped like this my whole life, son. Why?" And then he said, "Oh, I'm just asking." And then I spoke up. I said, "Because the other day I was mopping exactly like that. And he was telling me that it's the stupidest way that he's ever seen anybody mop, and that why am I mopping like that?" And then she looks at him and she tells him exactly what I told him. No prompting. She said, "Mijo, it picks up all the dirt that the escoba doesn't get." And then he tried to turn it around on me and say, "Oh, well, she was whipping all the dirt in back into the air, and she was doing this and this and that." Everything I did. And when his dad was still alive, he would always ask me to make food that his dad hadn't eaten for many, many years. I made him something called caldo de siete mares, and that's like a seafood um, soup that's supposed to have 7 different kinds of sea animals in it: octopus, squid, fish, shrimp, clams, oysters, whatever. It's supposed to have a lot of mussels. It's supposed to have 7 different types of sea creatures in there. That's why it's called Seven Seas Soup, Siete Mares. And his dad loved it, and he was like proud and like showing his dad like, "Oh yeah, I got this woman that knows how to cook and clean," and um, is from Mexico and is tall and is light skinned. I have my perfect woman. This imperfect woman criticized everything. If I breathed too heavy, it started an argument. If I saw something I didn't like on TV and, you know, made a face, that started an argument. 2013, it was July of 2013. I had a sibling living in Colorado, and I was July of 2013. I stopped drinking cold turkey. Um, I don't know what happened to me. I just woke up one day. I tried to drink a beer, um, and it tasted disgusting. Um, the next night, he went to the store and bought other beer, and I still couldn't drink it. And this started to be a source of arguments also, because he would be like on his 6th beer and I would still be holding the same beer. And he said, "Why are you babysitting that beer?" And I would tell him, "It doesn't taste good. I don't like it." So he kept trying. He bought wine, he bought red wine, he bought white wine, he bought rum, he bought vodka, he bought tequila, he bought all kinds of different alcohols and liquors, wine coolers. I think he even bought at one point. He bought Michelob Ultra. He bought Miller Genuine Draft, because that's what I used to drink. And he always used to criticize, "Oh, why are you drinking Miller Genuine Draft? That's a nasty beer. Ugh, that's low class beer. Ugh." but he bought it because he wanted to get me drunk for some reason. And my body was rejecting alcohol at that point. I couldn't drink it. I couldn't even sip it. So that's when I stopped drinking, was July of 2013. July, August, September, October, November, July of 2013. So then wait. I forgot. I completely forgot. I was selling the diet pills and I was trying to make a name for myself. I was selling to people and people were coming to the house to pick up the diet pills from me. And I told them, I don't feel comfortable all of these people knowing where I live. And I said, I want to start delivering. Would you be interested or would you be willing to help me deliver? So I'm not doing it by myself or alone. So I'm not meeting up with like random people and getting robbed or something. And when I was 18 years old, I was by a neighbor, and silly me, I told him about that experience. I told him about a lot of my trauma, and that was a huge mistake. Telling a narcissist your life experiences or your trauma, because they will turn around and use that against you. I asked him for help so that I would feel safer delivering to people instead of people going to the house, because I didn't feel safe having random people going to the house. And he said, no, I'm not going to help you. Go get again. And I was in shock. I stopped and I looked at him and I said, what did you say? And he repeated it. And I attacked him. This was in 2013, possibly 2012. And then yes, this had to be around in 2012, because this is around when I started rebelling against him. I started, because I was doing the business, I was on Facebook a lot more, and I was on Facebook. If he was gone and disappeared, I was on Facebook all night in chat groups, or talking to people and just laughing and having a good time, and trying to socialize in my own way, I guess, because I couldn't leave the house. So that was in 2012. 2013, I had my tubes tied, and I might not be able to see it. In 2012, I don't remember what year it was when I sponsored the car show, but I sponsored a car show to get my name further out into the community. And he still uses that against me as one of the reasons why he couldn't trust me, was the car show that I sponsored and this tattoo that I got for my 30th birthday. I bought myself. Well, I entered a contest at a tattoo shop, and I was really good friends with the owner. And this was one of the people that was on Facebook chatting and laughing and gossiping. They would gossip. I didn't know any of the people that they were gossiping about, but just laughing and having a good time. And I entered that contest, and originally I had won a free piercing, but she made it to where I won the top prize, which was a $300 tattoo gift certificate. So I designed it, I drew it, and I took it to the tattoo shop and I said, I'm here for my tattoo. And they started doing it. And 2013 was when I started doing it. I got the tattoo and he didn't notice for about 2 months. It was still March, so it was still like a little chilly. I have a lower than normal body temperature because of my thyroid, and lower than normal blood pressure because of my thyroid. So I get cold very, very easily. It's probably like 60 something degrees outside right now, but I'm in this jacket because I'm cold. And the sun is shining. It's not even overcast. But anyways, so I got the tattoo and I hid it from him. I didn't even hide it. I was changing in front of him. We weren't having, yes, we were. We did have sex at this point. Because when he finally noticed it, he said, when did you get that? And I said, in March for my birthday. Excuse me. And then he said, what the fuck? We had sex since then. How did you keep it hidden? And I said, I don't know. I've changed in front of you too. How did you not see it? And to this day, he still holds that against me as one of the reasons why he couldn't trust me. But this was in 2013, and I got with him in 2004. And I told him, when he's tried to bring it back up, I told him, no, you had trust issues way before I ever came into your life. So don't try to put my tattoo as one of the reasons that you couldn't trust me. You didn't trust me from the beginning. But anyways, so I had the tattoo hidden for 2 months, or he didn't notice it or whatever. And then I stopped drinking in July. And this was like my last effort into putting anything more into the relationship. I stopped drinking in July because my body started rejecting it, and I said, okay, well, I'm not drinking anymore. No more drunk arguing, because if he's drunk and wants to argue, I'm not going to take the bait because I'm not going to be drunk. He kept drinking and arguing and fighting and gaslighting and all that good fun stuff. So 2013 to 2014, I didn't go to New Year's with him. I hadn't gone in like a couple of years at that point, I think. And I started distancing myself. I didn't go to his mom's anymore. He didn't I stopped putting in the effort that I had been putting in. I wanted to go see my parents, and I would invite him, and he would say, no, I don't want to go see your parents. So I would go by myself. He did go to a wedding with me, but he wanted to leave early because he was uncomfortable. And then so I stopped putting forth any effort. Every time he said, I'm going to go to my mom's, you want to come with me? Or let's go to my mom's. I would say, I don't want to go to your mom's. You don't want to go to my parents? I don't want to go to your mom's. And I stopped going out with him to the house parties. I stopped going with him to his family get-togethers. I stopped I started showing the same amount of effort that he was putting. I started doing that. And he didn't like it. He said that I was acting like a child and rebelling against him. The car show. I sponsored the car show. I sponsored that one in February, and then I think it happened like in May or June, and that was a nightmare. He started drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning. I got there like at 9 or 10 to set up, and people started getting there around 12, and he was already drunk at 12. I didn't sell any diet pills. I handed out flyers. Some people went and asked, got some information, um, but I didn't sell anything. And he was freaking blackout drunk at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he started fighting with the guy that put together the car show. And then he started fighting with the car club that was at the car show. And then he had told his cousin to go with his lowrider, and his cousin won, and the other car club got mad because Jack was acting like a jackass and throwing it in everybody's faces. And at some point he pulled his gun out and was like flashing it at people from his vehicle, and he told me, get in the truck, we're leaving. And I said, fuck you, fuck no, I'm not leaving, going anywhere with you. If these people try to shoot at you, I'm not going to be with you. You can go get shot by yourself. And I had my younger brother go pick me up from there. I stopped selling diet pills. I was so embarrassed. I wanted to be in the parade that year. That was my other goal that I wanted to do, was pay to be in the parade and hand out flyers at the parade. And I had even talked to him about using his 64 Impala that he had in the garage for the parade. I told him, fix it up, finish fixing it up, and I can put my magnets on the side of it, and we can be in the parade, or whatever. I want to be in the parade. And that dream, poof, with that car show. So then it's 2014. I didn't spend Christmas at his mom's in 2013, I don't think. I didn't spend any of the holidays in 2014. But then it's December. I didn't even talk about the engagement ring. He proposed to me in May of 2010. And or 2000, I think it was 2010. He proposed and I accepted, and within a month he took back the engagement ring and said that I wasn't good enough to marry. After that, he gave it back to me. He had just handed it back to me, and I took it back and I started wearing it again. And then he got mad about something else a few months later, and then he took it back, and he kept taking it back and taking it back and taking it back. And finally I got to the point where I said, you know what, I don't want it anymore, just keep it. What am I going to do with the ring that's not even mine? And he said, it is your ring, what are you talking about? And I said, you take it back every couple of months because you decided that you don't want to marry me anymore. It's not my ring. You always take it back. But it was 2014 and it was December, and I started wearing the ring again. I went to his mother's house for Christmas, and the straw that broke the camel's back, that made me say, this man's never going to change, was the fact that he had loaned his underage son my Yukon without even telling me, without asking me, without any inkling. I just was looking for the keys, and I couldn't find them, and I went to the backyard because that's where I used to park, was in the backyard, to see if maybe I had left them in the door, or if I had left them in the Yukon or something. And the Yukon was gone. And I go back inside the house and I said, where's the Yukon? I need to go to the store, or I need to go do something. Where's my Yukon? And he said, oh, I let my son borrow it. And I said, why? You didn't even ask me. I mean, why? Why did you loan out my vehicle? And he said, it's my son. And like, at this point, I went through like a whole little Facebook thing. I proposed to myself in front of the Christmas tree, and I put, she said yes, and I was like posing. It was dumb. I proposed to myself. It was symbolic for me. And then December 28th of 2014, I walked out that door and I did not look back. I came to my mother's house, and I was here, and he was calling me nonstop, texting me nonstop. I broke the phone, and he went and bought a new one, so that he would have communication with me. Excuse me. And then he showed up on January 1st during the day, still drunk from partying the night before. He had just dropped off his son at his son's mother's house, and he was drunk at my mother's door asking to talk to me. And I told him no. And I confided in the Colorado person that I was afraid, because he showed up still drunk, and that I was afraid that he was going to do something to me. And they said, come to Colorado. There was ice on the roads. There had just been like a snowstorm or something, and there was ice on the roads, so I couldn't leave for a couple of days. And as soon as I felt enough time had passed, I went for it. But I need to explain more the night that I left. It was December 28th, and I had gathered all of my kids' clothes, all of my clothes, what I could gather of my clothes, their blankets, their toys. I got their things mostly. I was more concerned about getting their things. And I took them to my mother's house, and I told her, I'm going to break up with Julian. I'm going to leave him. I'm bringing the kids, and I'm going to go over there by myself, and I'm going to talk to him and tell him that I'm leaving. I have a couple of more things that I want to get out of the house, that I don't want him to destroy. And yeah, my mother had my kids, and I stayed busy cleaning the house and getting the last couple of things and loading them up into the Yukon. And he came home from work, and right away he knew something was up. He said, where are the kids? And I said, they're at my mom's. Sit down, I want to talk. And he said, fuck that, where are the kids? And he went around looking for them in the rooms, in the bedrooms, in our room, in the bathroom. He looked outside. Where are the kids? They're at my mom's. I had my phone in my pocket and I was recording. I didn't think I was going to walk out of that house. So I wanted to record whatever my last moments were going to be. I was ready to die. I was sitting at the table and I had a notebook and a paper. A notebook, a spiral and a pen in front of me. And I told him, sit down. We need to talk. And he said, no, I'm not going to sit down. What do you want to talk about? What's going on? And I said, I'm leaving. I'm done in this relationship. I can't continue like this. I want to set up like some kind of visitation or some kind of agreement pertaining to the kids. And he's yelling and screaming and cussing. And I got up and I said, okay, well, if you don't want to talk like normal, sane people, I'm going to leave and whatever. And then I started walking out the door and he tried to block me. And I said, my mom knows what I'm doing. She has the kids. If I don't show up at the house in a few minutes, she's going to call the police and send them here. And he knew that I was serious, and he moved out of the way, and he let me walk out. I had hidden the knives. I had moved his guns. I was prepared to die. So then I left him, came to my parents, went to Colorado, into a whole other abusive into a whole nother abusive situation. But that's going to be for another story time. That one. So I'm living in Colorado. I have no money. I've got no job. I went to Colorado with whatever belongings I could get in the Yukon. And we went to Colorado. I tried to get a restraining order against him in Colorado, and the first one, they gave it to me for 30 days. And then I went to renew it, and the police department here never served him the paperwork. I would tell them he's going to be at the courthouse on this day. Can you serve him there? And they didn't. I got 3 extensions on the restraining order, and after the third one, they said they haven't served in the paperwork. We can't keep giving you extensions. And that's when I gave up trying to get the restraining order. He was obsessively calling and texting and emailing and filling up my voicemail box. It's now been, it's going to be 7 years this December. And I'm going to be celebrating because it's actually been 7 years by this point since the last time I had physical contact with him in that manner. And I read somewhere once that after 7 years, all of the cells in your body have regenerated. So it's going to be like he's never even touched me. So that is something that I will be celebrating. Probably with my mother or by myself. I'm not going to celebrate that in front of the kids because that's still their dad. And they don't need to know all that. But yeah, so I got into therapy this year, and finally, actually, when I was in Colorado, I was being helped by the domestic, what was it called? It was a women's shelter, and I had a counselor that I was talking to there, and then they started me with another counselor, like an actual counselor, and that counselor said I had PTSD and CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, from my childhood and from the relationship with him. The person that told me to go to Colorado initially for my safety put my life in danger by providing Jack with information, false information, as a matter of fact, to try to get him riled up so that he would hurt me. This person has wished death upon me. But like I said before, all I can do is let go and let God. Everybody's got their own karma to pay, and that's that. My ex, Jack, would send me pictures of the women that he was dating and brag about them. There was one lady that he dated that was like a pilot inspector, or like a pilot, or I don't know. He bragged about her. And this woman was beautiful. And he was bragging to me about her, about how she bought him dinner and bought him lunch, and I don't know whatever happened with them, but, or what happened to her, but she was way too pretty for him. And he told me that all the women that he's dated after me knew that he's an abuser. And that they still went after him. I didn't warn a single person about that man. And I'm glad I didn't, because in watching all the narcissistic recovery videos, they talk about how they talk about the smear campaign. And had I done that, I would have proved him right. But I didn't. I never retaliated against him or the other person. They spread their lies about me on the internet and turned people against me. But you know, those people weren't meant to go with me where I'm going. Family or not, those people turned against me, and all I can do is wish them the best and go on with my life and be joyful in my abundance, be joyful in my blessings, be grateful for the life that I have. Find happiness in each and every leaf on a tree or blade of grass or and whatnot. I wish no ill on anybody. I pray for the people that have hurt me in the past, and I pray for their healing and for their happiness, and for them to find love and joy and pure happiness. I pray for them. I send them nothing but love. I have no hate in my heart for anybody. Even the people that have hurt me the most. And I'm not talking about like the man that raped me when I was 18. I'm talking about the people that said that they loved me and hurt me. The people that said they had my best interest at heart, but really didn't. I'm thinking about one person in particular, but it is what it is. He knows the choices he's made. He knows the hurt that he's caused me because I've told him. And he's continued to choose the path that he's chosen. And all I can say is good luck to you. Let go and let God. Send them love too. Well, this is on 2 hours. I don't even know how long this is going to take to upload, but if you made it this far, holy shit, thank you. If you haven't eaten anything today, I can't believe I sat here for 2 hours. Oh, trying to get that stretch in. Yeah, look, see, living my best life. And I am. I'm back in school. And I'm just looking forward to all the great things to come. And I've, accomplished so much on my own without needing anybody. I mean, without needing a man, a romantic man. Because I have had help. I mean, I was 33% disabled, so I did have a lot of help, and I'm very, very grateful and thankful to the people that have been here, helping me and pushing me and motivating me along the way, giving me a sense of stability, giving me a sense of normalcy. So for me to mess up and end up with somebody like that again, not happening. Not gonna happen. that would be like the ultimate betrayal for me to do to them. So that's not gonna happen. But yeah, make sure you get something to eat today if you can. Drink some water. If you haven't heard it today, I love you. I love you. Thanks for watching, and as always, namaste.